So Florida gives school districts 48 hours to reverse mask mandates or lose funding. Once again, my first take on this story is that children are being used as political pawns. I mean, I think George Carlin said there are three things that politicians use to divide the country. It's like the Bible, the flag, and children, right? And there are even more than that, but children are like the most personal power chip that they have. And the way they use children and manipulate them, and in many cases, not just pedophilia, but it's like mental pedophilia at this point. It always has been. I mean, you can culturally rebrand it any way you want, but when your kids are being educated by the state, just know that they are not under your control. They are not under your domain. You are sacrificing them to whatever your community decides is moral and just. When we know that our community, our country is immoral. I mean, our country is founded on so many immoral and reprehensible principles. And some have to do with government and some have to do with, free market and whatnot. It's not even economic. I just find it to be a moral collapse of civilization that we're under. And I'm not even talking religious, but I'm talking about individual autonomy. So I think that's what DeSantis is trying to defend. Make no bones about it, he's a politician, same as the Democrats, and he's using this to his full advantage to try and get the top spot. He's definitely going to run for president if he had any political wits about him, and I think he does. He's definitely cozying up to dump, lest he not be named for the rest of this fucking video. But yeah, this is crazy. This story's crazy. 2 Florida school districts that defied state rules and imposed mask mandates for students have been given 48 hours to reverse course or lose state funding equal to the salaries of their school board members. I mean, and from a legal standpoint, the states are trying to maintain power. That's what this is. Whether it's a pro-mask mandate or we're not going to do mask mandates and we're going to stop people from doing it, it's another bargaining chip. It's another. We know masks are like, they don't really do a whole lot to protect from germs, and in fact, it is unhealthy to be breathing in your own bacteria for a long period of time. Personally, I'd rather have the mask mandates than a fucking vax passport. I mean, I know that's the ultimate goal, and I know that they're training us into this. If you study behavioral psychology, what they do with dogs is exactly what the elites are doing to us right now. Repetition, 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 so that we slowly accept the tyranny. We accept the branding of our skin, and so on and so forth, which is an individual choice. I think it should be an individual choice because it is. This is what authoritarians don't understand is bodily autonomy. If you don't own your own body, if the state owns your body, they own you own nothing. You own nothing if not for your own vessel. And I'd make the same case to fucking stupid-ass, retarded conservatives who want to ban abortion. It's like, okay, I understand you think it's immoral. I understand that, and I see your perspective on that. I truly do. But how are you going to enforce that? And then that's when they start getting all utopian. It's like, but this is the leftist mindset. This is exactly what they're doing with the masks and the vaxxes and so on and so forth. They want to build this utopian society within this crumbling infrastructure. But when things don't work out, the default is complying with fascists. That's the default setting in human psychology. That's why we're slaves. That's why the 13th Amendment didn't actually abolish slavery. It only expanded it. That's a fact. Under punishment of a crime. What do you think that means? It means whatever the government wants it to mean. That's why Joe Biden and DHS just designated half of the fucking country as terrorists if they so much as get out in the streets and protest these lockdowns. And another one is coming real soon. It's already happening in Australia. And that brings me to My next story, I got pulled up right here. Dozens arrested, hundreds fined as police disrupt Sydney anti-lockdown protest. They made dozens of arrests, and they're issuing fines if they so much as leave their house. I mean, I have videos I could pull up. Right here, for example. These are just people demonstrating, and here's what happens. Here's how it always works. People mean well. People are protesting things that they find to be morally unjust. Just like Dr. King did in the civil rights movement. We have to have that strategy. But what happens is, no matter how well-intentioned your protest is, these fucking psyops, they always install somebody. Whether it's on your team, they get somebody to flip and throw a fucking pebble at a cop's helmet. And then it's just total fucking chaos. And these cops, they gotta fucking go, man. I hate cops so much. They are like the scum of the fucking earth. Because even if you're a good cop and you have a conscience, you're gonna get replaced. Just understand that. If you actually take a stand for what's right, the statists don't want that. You're going to lose your job. You're gonna lose your fucking pension. So of course you're gonna enforce this shit. Of course you're gonna enforce tyranny. You're gonna know that you're doing it, and that makes you evil. You pick a side. You can ride the fence all you want. I know a lot about riding fences, believe you me. I've been fucking Machiavellian strategy this whole fucking time. That's what I do. I mean, like, I'm not proud of it, but it's a fact of life. But at some point, when you get pushed too far, when the state goes too far, you gotta pick a side. Are you on the fucking cop's side? Or are you on the side of freedom? Are you on the side of letting people make their own decisions about where they go, who they talk to, as long as it's not infringing on anybody else's rights? It's very fucking simple, guys. But they try to complicate it. It's a health crisis. It's a health issue. You think the government gives a fuck about your health? They feed you fucking pills that make you fat, food that makes you fat. Like all these fucking chemicals that are FDA approved or not FDA approved. The FDA is just another fucking scam. It's like you just have to use discernment. Health has always been about... I'm not like a spitting image of health. I'm a fucking drug addict and shit, but I'm saying, like, health has always been an individual thing. It's all about individual discernment. And this brings me to my next article. Mississippi officials warn against using anti-parasite drug to treat COVID-19. Mississippi State Department, yeah, like they would know. Mississippi, those. Yeah, when I think of health and safety, I think Mississippi. All right, the alert. I mean, I don't know anything about ivermectin. Let's see what the science has to say. I certainly would strongly recommend people not to take any medicine from a feed store or veterinary source. It can be dangerous. Yeah, it can be dangerous. You know what can also be dangerous? Taking experimental shots that were tested on animals. By the way, they do a total 180 on that. They act like they aren't doing the same thing with the vaccines. They were tested on animals and the animal trials failed. And now they're finally testing it on humans. This is the test. That's why they have no legal liability. That's why they have total legal immunity in this country. I don't know about other countries, but if the World Health Organization is the authority on this and they keep pushing this shit, who's going to be held accountable? We should be going after the Wuhan lab right now. We should be arresting them, Fauci and the fucking WHO lab people. But instead, we're arresting the citizens. They're putting you on lockdown. They're punishing you for their release and mismanagement of a virus that they were studying for who knows what reason. I'm not even going to speculate on that because I just don't want to go down a rabbit hole. But you can have your own ideas about it. The fact is, there's so much we don't know about any of these treatments. And I'm curious as to, like, anything that could help ease the symptoms of COVID-19 is a good thing. And we should keep going with that instead of pretending like, oh, there's only one way, and that's the vaccine. Bullshit. We know it doesn't work. We know it doesn't keep you from spreading the virus. We know it doesn't keep you from even suffering from the virus. Their only argument at this point is that you might not die. Might not die from it. I have to put twice as much effort into taking that nearly equal amount of risk. I have to give my body to the state. I think if they just sold it and just admitted that it was a regular product, it's just a product that you can use if you want. If they just went with that instead of this fucking horrible dystopian measures that they're using, then I think there wouldn't even be an argument. But on the other hand, they also want an argument. They need an argument to get clicks, to get television views. If you still watch that shit, I feel sorry for you. But it's really no different from social media. It's like social media, there's just more information, but like half of it is total bullshit and lies, and then you gotta argue with half the country about the other half. Oh no, it's like completely reversed, and everybody's mind is fucked as soon as they log on to Facebook and Twitter, which is why I've been trying to stay off that shit for real. It's not good. And it's no replacement for an actual conversation with real people in a real setting. But they want to diminish that as well. Like, if you grew up on the internet like I did, their goal is to just keep you on the internet 24/7 because it's a product. It's like they literally study ways to make you more addicted. And you know it's happening. Like, a coupon pops, oh my god, oh my god, $5 off a fucking salami stick or whatever the fuck, you know? As long as it's legal. If it's illegal, you're going to get popped and you're going to get destroyed by the state. And Biden's already made it clear nothing will fundamentally change. He's not going to legalize weed. He's not going to give you Medicare for all. He's not going to do anything that the left claimed as a policy position. AOC's not going to do it. They're just a disgrace. And people still simp for them. They make careers like fucking Kyle Cook. Bernie kicks host off podcast and embarrasses himself. Kyle gets kicked off of his own fucking show when Bernie Sanders comes into it. His hero. Like, this is the guy. This is like the symbol of progressivism. And people know he's a fraud now. They know he's a con man, a grifter who works for the DNC. And the DNC itself is a private company. Let me pull that up real quick. DNC to court. This is from 2017. We are a private corporation with no obligation to follow our own rules. I mean, Debbie Wasserman, they admitted it back in the last election, you know, or after 2016. But this was, but I realize now, like, how much of this was like pre-planned, and if Bernie got a leg up, and that they were always going to rig it, and they were always going to fudge the numbers like they're doing with COVID now. I mean, these are experts. These are, you know, they're accountants basically. They're just sneaky ass accountants that fucking manipulate the numbers so that they get the results that they want. That's how this country's run, man. It's run like a fucking tax dodging business, except they're taxing you and they're taking your money and then spending it on themselves, and war all over the world. And yeah, so that's who Bernie is. He's a fucking party man through and through. And I don't know why he wouldn't want to talk to Kyle. I guess maybe there's like a list of people that's like, do not talk to these people because they're too progressive and they actually have something of a spine. But listen, this is pathetic.
I'm not in this interview, and there's a reason why I'm not in this interview. So, I mean, you could probably give the timeline better than me, but
there's a reason.
They reached out to you and basically said, yeah, we'll do an interview under the condition it's only you. Correct?
So Bernie said, I'll do an interview on Kyle and Crystal, but only if Kyle's not there.
This is the left.
Now remember,
This is the level of loyalty and discourse on the left. The left has never been about having a conversation. They've always wanted to destroy the conversation with personal drama. And you know, it's good for views and clicks and entertainment and shit like that. And this is why I think Jimmy's like beating them all. Because it's like he holds everybody accountable, which the left just doesn't do. They excuse their own they're not going to call Joe Biden out on being a pedophile, war criminal piece of shit, because it's like, oh, we're gonna get what, a filibuster. We're gonna get like this thing you've never heard of in government that's gonna move this bill a little closer, and then it doesn't happen. In fact, they use that to say, okay, giant spending bill for corporations, a giant infrastructure bill. I wonder what's in it. Oh, you just designated half the country's terrorists. Oh, you voted for that? Oh, you voted? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're really representing my fucking interests. Get the fuck out of here. They're all fucking jerking off the elites. Bill Gates and all those cocksuckers. Pieces of fucking dog shit. Fuck Bernie Sanders. I cannot believe I voted for that guy. But you know what? I cannot believe I voted. I was trying to do the right thing. I was this guy. I was trying to do the right thing. And it's like the more information you find, the more you realize it's all a fucking scam. This is why I'm an anarchist. Because like everything that was gonna happen, that you expect to happen, is probably gonna happen at some point. There's gonna be mass riots. Just like you push people too far, there's gonna be disobedience. There's gonna be like, they're gonna throw everyone in jail for like not wearing a mask or chin strapping a mask or not complying with the guidelines exactly. They're going to shut down your business. They're going to fine you. They're going to throw you in jail. And the same people who were in charge all along are going to get richer and richer and richer until the whole system collapses. And hopefully you get a target on their ass. And but we don't know who these people are. Do you think the real elites, I'm talking the real creme de la creme of the fascists, do you think they would just show their faces? Are they that proud? I don't know. I'm always asking, like, okay, let's say hypothetically Bill Gates is in charge of the world. Let's just say that. Now, who's in charge of him? Does he have a god? Does he have a ruler? Does he have somebody he answers to? You know? And I think, well, it just depends. Like the bank, I guess. Maybe the banks, but they're an institution. It's not one person. It's just a series of collective interests, and the rich know this. That's why they're communists. That's because they have shared interests, and they've actually ascended to the level where you can be like, okay, we can get along because we have all the fucking resources. Meanwhile, you're left scratching your ass and putting a gun to your head because you can't pay the electric bill. Child sex trafficking ring at 2021 Sturgis motorcycle rally nets 9 arrests. Oh yeah, totally not a psyop at all. Oh wow, you finally give a shit about sex trafficking? Yeah, Obama gets to party at his fucking mansion with how many people? It was like 600, 700 people or something like that. It was like this insane party. But a bunch of fucking crackers want to assemble for a fucking motorcycle rally for a few days, and now it's like, oh my god, this is a health crisis. They need to be put in place. Do you see how? I mean, the hypocrisy is so blatant now. It's like I feel like I don't even have to say it. But if you're trying to find the pedos, I'm just saying you might want to start with the president, you know, who's literally a pedophile, though young and healthy, unvaccinated. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're. You know, for every story like this that gets reported, there's a story that doesn't get reported about somebody who dies from the vaccine. Like, people are going to the hospital even though they're vaccinated. And then you gotta wonder, well, how worse would it be if 60% of the people in the hospital in Israel are vaccinated? Then would they die? Would they all die if they weren't? I mean, what do you think? It's fucked up. Now let's think about this. A virus so slick, I tweeted this out earlier. Let me read it. A virus so slick that it waits until half the population is fully vaccinated to create variants. Yeah, and not only that, there's been stories of like people falling off ladders and shit. And then they say it's COVID. Like, COVID's just walking around knocking over people's ladders now. Man who died after falling from 10-foot ladder was actually killed by COVID-19. Doctors. And everybody wants to be a scientist. I'm just talking shit, man. Everybody's talking shit. This is, like, nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. Even the scientists. Oh, you think because you have a fucking white lab coat and fucking spectacles. Oh, my God. Like, we have to... This guy's an authority figure. This guy knows what he's doing. Oh, white coat equals smart. No, he's a fucking dumbass orangutan just like you. Except he's richer than you. He makes a lot more money shilling for pharmaceuticals. And also the science is always evolving. They said they expected this vaccine to be effective, and it isn't. So now they move the goalposts like, oh, it's not to stop the spread. Oh, it's just to reduce symptoms and... It's like, I see the con, dude. I see the quarter behind your fingers. You know, you're not good at this. They're not even good at it, and people just go along with it. Like,
they are in pandemic peaks now in terms of total hospitalizations, and the death numbers are going very much in the wrong direction. Again, mostly unvaccinated people.
Yeah, you have to make this point.
There is this question of what about the vaccinated? Because there is no question that we are seeing breakthrough cases, which are mostly mild, but we're seeing breakthrough hospitals.
Mostly mild, yeah, so mild that they end up in the hospital. I wouldn't call that mild, you dumb fuck.
As well, although relatively fewer in number, and we're seeing breakthrough deaths as well.
You can tell this guy's just a fucking zombie. He doesn't have, he has no independent thought, and that's exactly what they want. This is why he has over 1 million subs.
Showing that it starts to seem, it seems as though it starts maybe around 5-6 months, and then there's a noticeable drop off at the 8-month mark, that there is declining efficacy in these vaccines.
Oh, whoop-de fucking do. Wow, it's almost like they're trying to push boosters. It's almost like they're just trying to make constant profits. I should have invested in these companies a long time ago, man. I didn't see this coming. Who could have seen this coming?
Dose has
I'd be fucking millionaire by now if I invest in these fucking companies.
And we now have heard from the CDC. The U.S. will begin wide distribution of COVID booster shots.
Yay!
Vaccine protection wanes over time.
Wow, it's almost like it makes no fucking difference.
Through the end of July and early August, 3 points are now very clear. First, vaccine-induced protection against SARS-CoV-2 infection begins to decrease over time.
Now, important, she's talking there about infection. Now, next, she will talk about the other elements.
Second, vaccine effectiveness against severe disease, hospitalization, and death remains relatively high.
Yes.
And third, vaccine effectiveness is generally decreased against the Delta variant. So let's jump into the data. On this slide, you will see 2 studies, one from New York and one an analysis of data from the Mayo Clinic. From May 3rd through July 25th, New York examined COVID-19 tests and linked them to individuals' vaccination status based on the state's vaccine records.
This is huge.
This allowed New York to study vaccine effectiveness against infection over time for more than 10 million New Yorkers of all ages. Vaccine effectiveness in May, early during the vaccine rollout in the state, was 92%. In the later months, further from vaccination, vaccine effectiveness declined to 80%. These data will be published in the MMWR today. The Mayo Clinic analysis looked at vaccine effectiveness for both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines.
Okay, so what is the point here? The point here is, over time, efficacy wanes. And there's really 2 aspects to this, and this is we don't know the answer to this, but this is a really important thing to understand.
We don't know the answer, but you still have to get vaccinated. That's their answer.
Real world, is in part waning because the virus variant that is dominant now is not the one that the vaccine was developed against. This is different than vaccine efficacy goes down against the live variant, the original variant against which the vaccines were designed. It may or it may not, but we don't yet have reason to believe that. And so this may well become like a flu shot type situation where...
Well, that was the goal.
To get my flu shot in a few days myself. The flu shot I will get in a few days is based on what was believed to be the dominant strain at the time that this year's flu shot started to be developed. I don't know if it's 6 or 8 months ago. And depending on how well that matches...
It's literally their goal is to just get more people on the flu shot. You know, it's such a brilliant scam, but it's great. It's brilliant.
There, in this upcoming flu season, I will have a lower or higher degree of protection. And similarly, when we talk about the COVID-19 vaccine, the same question applies, which is how closely does the variant that is dominant match what the vaccines were designed for? So this is where we are going, and the guidance, as far as we understand it now, is going to be starting 8 months after your second dose of the Pfizer.
Pac-Man.
We are starting to see vaccine requirements at increasingly in different cities and states to go to restaurants, to go to indoor venues. This stuff is not going to end anytime soon. And of course, part of the reason is a whole bunch of people still are not interested in getting vaccinated.
You literally just said the effectiveness wanes over time. So these people are essentially going to be unvaccinated then. And of course it's the unvaccinated's fault. Of course it is. Of course it is, even though these variants didn't happen until half the population was vaccinated.
At least one doctor, and I'm going to talk about this next, is saying he will no longer treat unvaccinated patients. When we're talking about sleep, we always hear about how much...
Yeah, okay, you don't have to. I mean, someone will. Fucking idiot, man. Like, this dude literally has Down syndrome. But you can't erase all the facts that we found out. It came from a Wuhan lab. We know this. We know the vaccines are ineffective. We know they were tested on animals. We know that the human trials are just now being completed, which is, of course, letting it out into the public and using taxpayer money to try and forcibly jab everyone and try and guilt them with Marxist techniques and shame tactics, which, yeah, that'll work. It's like if people don't have any shame to begin with and they live free or die hard, then, and every once in a while you get supposedly someone on their deathbed, oh, if only I had gotten a shot. It's like, dude, okay, like, people, like, that's just sad, man. Like, if you're gonna go out, have some fucking balls, It's like I'm sorry, the sad fact is everybody has an expiration date. This species has an expiration date. And virus or no virus, there's always going to be these problems. There's always going to be health problems. But do you trust the state to decide what's right for you? Because some fucking dickweed in a lab coat says something with a fucking magic scroll on the wall? You think he doesn't have ulterior motives? Who pays him? Follow the money, Lebowski. Follow the fucking money. University of Virginia disenrolls 238 students for not complying with university's vaccine mandate. Great. I'm for weeding out. If segregation really comes down to, like, are you going to be a fascist or not? Then yeah, you don't want to be in these places. And the vaccine passport, like, really it's a net positive, because it's just like, oh, I'm gonna end my dependence on corporations. Like, wow, what a fucking tragedy. I get to go out and grow my own food, or, like, there's always a way around it. that the law-abiding citizens don't even think about. This is a test of creativity. This is a test of imagination. And that is what we are lacking in order to defeat anything or build anything. You need an educated population, and we just do not have that. They're indoctrination, for-profit indoctrination camps. That's how cucked we are. It's like we pay to have the language perverted and having to use pronouns that aren't real. It's like, so I think we're making it very clear that if you choose not to get vaccinated, there are going to be consequences. And the question is, if you are one of those people, how do you deal with it? And I think it is more along the lines of just you don't want it. You got to realize that you don't want to be part of this, and it's that simple, and that's your freedom, and I respect it, and good luck, because it's all about just building the society that you want, and it's one brick at a time, and the fight is hard. It's always been hard for anti-fascists. And you're going to lose a lot, but you're also going to gain a lot of respect for yourself and, a reason to push through. So if you can see past all this bullshit, you're not going to get all the same opportunities you once had. It's like when a door closes, another opens. I believe that, and I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen when I dropped out of school and when I, or when I was shut out from something, or when I got kicked out of my house, One door closes, another opens. So, don't listen to these fucking media hacks. Here's the thing. The cases are increasing, the hospitalizations are increasing, and people aren't putting two and two together. They aren't putting the timing of it. That's how you know. That's how you know that something strange is going on here with those shots. And the argument is, look at this study, look at this report. Yeah, well, there are other studies that say different things, but you censor those studies. You censor the inventor of mRNA technology, who shows that alternate evidence, and the libertarian stance is always, it's your choice. You want to put something in your body, that's your choice, 100%. And also, these drug pushers, racist. Statistically speaking, it's 68% of blacks. They're like the least vaccinated group because they saw Tuskegee. They know what happens. They've been through this before when they were given syphilis by the government, and that government claimed they were just looking out for their health, which of course was a lie. So question, if they announce FDA approval on Monday and then swiftly pass a mandatory vaccine passport for everyone, what you gonna do? Seriously, don't say, that won't happen. Just answer the fucking question. Well, Panda, thanks for commenting. Who knows? The main thing, you have to accept what you're not gonna do too. You're not gonna blow up at people. You're not gonna become a victim of the media hysteria. You're not going to start fights in public over this. You're probably going to wear a fucking mask just to be on the safe side. Not even for your health, just so you don't get yelled at and shit. So you don't get fucking harassed, followed around the store by some fucking retard teenager pimple face. They don't even care if you cover your face. That's the fucked up thing. It's if you literally just have a mask partly on your face, it's okay, you're safe. This society is such a failure. We think this is actually helping. Dude, nothing is going to help this. We have to... Herd immunity is just going to happen by itself. It's we have no control over it. You only have control over your own body and your own health. That's it. That's the only level of control you have. And if you give that to the state, you own nothing. You will never be an individual. And, you know, it's your choice. It's your choice. And I'm not going to judge people unless they're ordering other people. And it's getting dangerously close to that. We're right on the precipice of that. And I have a feeling they're just going to keep trending in that direction. It's like, I have a right to my own oxygen. No, you don't. If that's the case, then why don't you go after the fucking fossil fuel companies that are polluting the environment every single fucking day? Oh, nobody wants to do that because it's hard. They'd rather just fucking snitch on their fucking neighbor. Get his guns taken away because he reached out to Veterans Affairs. He's a fucking veteran. It happens. It happens. I know people it's happened too. It's like, oh, I'm worried about my mental health and shit. Oh, do you own guns? Like, yeah. Oh, police, open up! 2 days later. It's insane. And they just do it. They just do it. It's not a question of like, oh, that's against the law. Oh, it's like, who gives a shit? Might makes right. A government with all the power will always leverage it against you. It doesn't matter what the law says. That's just to give you the illusion that there's some kind of system in place, that there's order. There's no order to any of this. There's no order to any of this, and that's the extent to which I'm an anarchist. I'm not promoting anything. It's an acceptance. It's an acceptance that everything breaks down and builds back up naturally over time. And the more we try to control it, the more we try to control other people, the less successful we are in reaching our own potential. And you got shills like Pac-Man and Kuklinski who shill for Big Pharma while, on one hand, criticizing corporations, then on the other hand saying, oh, you have to go along with it, you have to do everything they say 3 months later. And it's just this constant moving the goalposts. I mean, we didn't even think that vaccine passports would be part of the conversation today. Yet here we are. A virus so deadly it only afflicts the slave class. Yeah, all the servants have to wear masks, but the elites don't. Right. But no, because you don't have any resources, you don't have any money. You're punished. It's a total caste system.